Morning Impact. From 6 a.m. to 12 noon every day on High Impact 102.1 FM, your urban lifestyle station.
And I know it's gonna be a lovely day.
Put a touch of class and finesse on your brand by advertising with us at High Impact 1021 FM. For more information, call
0706 393 5694, 0915 958 1881, or 0902 745 3931.
Follow us on our social media platforms at High Impact 1021 FM. Our deals are hotter than the weather itself.
Our deals are hotter than the weather itself.
What's so appealing about April, you may ask? Well, April showers bring May flowers, and the beauty of these flowers are in full effect when they bloom. And so, we don't need no other reason to declare our High Impact Court of Appeal in session. Court.
All rise.
Court is now in session.
You may be seated.
Welcome to April Appeal, where everything we find appealing, or not, is tabled before our court. We're stacking up appeals in every sense of the word. Want to appeal to our sense of sound? Sing to us, and we'll play you fantastic music. Offended someone? Appeal to them for forgiveness.
Is it too late now to say sorry?
Share your food recipes with us on air. Tingle our sense of taste. Don't leave the sense of humor behind. Let's make each other laugh.
If it's something strange in your neighborhood.
Appeal to the relevant authorities to fix it. Follow us on High Impact 1021 FM and tag us in your fun videos while you vibe to our tunes. Appeal to our sense of sight. It's April Appeal, citizens. Let us know what you find appealing or not in the most creative ways.
I love you, babe.
I know, and I love you too. This is why I've made it so that you can now have me everywhere you go. www.highimpactstudios.com. Press play. Links in our social media bio. Click at High Impact 1021 FM. Or you can just go the regular way. Turn on your radio and tune in to 102.1 FM.
We love you at High Impact Radio. Mwah!
See, there is no separating us now.
From the greens of golf to the court of tennis and basketball, the octagon of UFC to the square room for boxing, track of Formula One, and the pitch of football. Join the sports crew on Sport Hall 6 to 7 p.m. Mondays and Wednesdays, Fridays 5 to 6 p.m. and 2 p.m. on Saturdays. Here on iImpact Radio 102.1 FM, Lagos. Reviews, views, and interviews just the way you like it. Exclusive on High Impact Radio 102.1 FM, Lagos. Sport Hub for all the updates and analysis.
AI Impact.
Hi, how may I help you?
So everywhere's a bit boring. I was wondering where I could get the perfect blend of education and entertainment. Do you have any suggestion?
Of course I do. You're at the right place. Here on High Impact 102.1 FM, we give you premium edutainment. We promise you'll never get bored with us.
In this Nigeria?
Yes, and here's the good news. You can actually listen to us wherever you are.
Hello there. Join us Mondays to Fridays, 7:05 a.m. for newspaper reviews, headlines, analysis, and comments on your urban lifestyle station. High Impact 102.1 FM.
morning, Lagos. Good morning, Nigeria. I don't know why I usually put Lagos for Nigeria. Okay, I'll correct myself this morning. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Lagos. As well, good morning, Luke Page, and welcome to Newspaper Review. One place where we get to give you the details of all of the major stories that made the headlines in the front pages of the major dailies this morning, giving you insight, making sure you're starting your day on a good note, keeping you informed and abreast of everything happening around us on your number one urban lifestyle station, Impact Radio 102.1 FM. You know, when we promise you, we'll always deliver to you. Ayade Jajiboye is my name. An absolute honor to join you on the show once again this morning. As usual, you've got your regular host, the man who never takes the leave, who never takes the transfer. Good morning.
Good morning. Ucho Korea is my name. Welcome to the Newspaper Review, where we get to analyze all of the stories that made front page in some of the dailies that we have with us today. Yesterday, as usual, gruesome news making the headlines, and still on insecurity. And this time it happened in Kaduna State, where a priest of St. Gerard Kwasi Parish in Kaduna, local government, abducted by gunmen in his home. And now it's really sad, and despite all of this, we still saw different stories making rounds yesterday about state policing not, the talks being suspended. We heard so many stories, and the questions people are asking is this: if really we want states to go out there to defend themselves, to, for the governors to act as chief security officers of their states, isn't it proper if they have police that they are in control of? And yes, we get to hear people talk like, oh, do you know what the police will do if they have state police under their controls, the things that they will use them to do, and all of that. But the questions people also still ask is, don't they use the federal police to do what exactly they want to use them for?
Of course.
Is anyone stopping them from talking to?
It's not just a couple days ago. We've been hearing it, and once again, the IGP still mentioned that they are trying to withdraw posts from private.
Every single time. And I ask, what stops the state police, the governor from saying, okay, commissioner of police, I need some boys to do this and do that and do that? If we're going to be looking at that tiny issue, which, however tiny it is, it's a huge issue in a way.
It doesn't look like it's tiny.
Yeah. If we're going to be looking at that issue, which already exists in the existence of federal police, why not we look at the big picture of what they can actually use them to do in terms of securing their states, rather than what they will use them to do in favor of their personal agendas, which they might have one way or the other. At the long run, what should be on the mindset of every leader taking positions in Nigeria is to be priority of the safety of the lives and properties of the Nigerian citizen, wherever they are, wherever they might find themselves. It needs to be guaranteed 100%.
Sure.
You can also get to be a part of this conversation this morning if you call us up on 0704 425 2109. I take that one more time, 0704 425 2109. Or if you reach us via WhatsApp and the regular text message route on 0907 224 5018. We're streaming live on YouTube at iImpact 102.1 FM. That is HI Impact 102.1 FM. So go subscribe to our YouTube channel right now. Click on the notification button so you can get to know whenever we are live. We're on all your social media handles. We're on X, we're on FKA, Twitter, we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram at iImpact 102.1 FM, on Facebook at iImpact Radio 102.1 FM. Welcome again to the Newspaper Review.
Hi, Impact.
Hi, how may I help you?
There are times that I aim for knowledge in certain areas like business and so on. Which station can give me that non-stop information?
Hi, Impact 102.1 FM. We've got information for you on the go.
I'll make it my everyday station.
You definitely should.
Put a touch of class and finesse on your brand by advertising with us at High Impact 1021 FM. For more information,
call 0706 393 5694, 0915 958 1881, or 0902 745 3931.
Follow us on our social media platforms at High Impact 1021 FM. Our deals are hotter than the weather itself.
Our deals are hotter than the weather itself.
AI Impact.
Hi, how may I help you?
So everywhere's a bit boring. I was wondering where I could get the perfect blend of education and entertainment. Do you have any suggestion?
Of course I do. You're at the right place. Here on High Impact 102.1 FM, we give you premium edutainment. We promise you'll never get bored with us.
In this Nigeria?
Yes, and here's the good news. You can actually listen to us wherever you are.
Hello there. Join us Mondays to Fridays, 7:05 a.m. for newspaper reviews, headlines, analysis, and comments on your urban lifestyle station. High Impact 102.1 FM.
Impact Radio 102.1 FM. You are on your urban lifestyle station this morning. In case you are just joining us, you are right on time because the newspaper review is just about to get started officially with the first paper of the day. And that paper is the Vanguard newspaper. But remember, you can always be a part of the conversation. And how you can do that is if you call us on 0704 425 2109. I take that one more time. 0704 425-2109. Those are the number for you to call for your calls and for your text message and WhatsApp messages. It is on 0907-224-5018. 0907-224-5018. It would be lovely to hear from you this morning. Let's get your opinion on things that are going on in the country, or basically you just want to share your thoughts about the headlines which you get to hear this morning. The Vanguard newspaper. And we start with the biggest headline which the Vanguard has for this morning. It says, Obere Povri offers defection. We are not bothered. That's according to PDP, LP, Atiku's coalition. You find that story on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. It has a couple of writers to it. This one says 2027 between APC Nigerians. That's according to the PDP. Beside that one, Delta defection, mockery of democracy, Abure's LP faction. And the last writer says, more governors joining us soon, APC. Well, when this story broke 2 nights ago, so many are of the opinion like, oh, okay, what's going on? On social media, you get to see so many Nigerians speak their mind, reacting to some of the stories, and some reacting positively, because definitely we have pro APC and of course we have those who are against. It's the normal way of life, and the ones who are against obviously trying to make their voice as loud as possible, with some claiming that the former governor of Delta State, in person of Okowa, who happens to be the former running mate of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar in the 2023 presidential election. He, as of November 2024, was wanted for 1.4 trillion naira fraud, oil derivation fraud by the EFCC, and now is in the ruling party. So is it the same case of all the situations we have seen where you're wanted for fraud, and then you wanted for something in the FCC, and you go to the ruling party, and it seems like you're no longer wanted?
Your sins are forgiven.
Is that the situation we have in Nigeria now? We see the PDP in person of some part of the PDP member in person of Bode George, who is a chieftain of the PDP since I've known his name. Talking about the APC trying to make Nigeria a one-party state, and the negatives that comes with that, which can't be overemphasized. But we've also gotten a situation where we've seen Nigerians at one corner. At least these are Nigerians who most of the time do not align to a particular political party, and some probably aligned to a particular movement, talking about all the defection not being a border because they feel like it's the people who are ruining the country, in their own words, going together in one part, and it will be easier for Nigerians to understand that, okay, it's we versus them. These are different opinions coming from different angles of Nigerians, and so it's a huge thing because the most important thing is being forgotten. And what's this thing being forgotten? Governance. This is 2025, and everything we are talking about is the 2027 election. INEC talking about legalizing voting without a PVC before 2027 elections. Everyone concluding, we've seen influencers coming out to say, hey, nobody can defeat the ruling party, this and that because of this and this and that. And you ask the question, very pertinent question, what determines for someone to be re-elected? Someone who already sits in power, maybe your local government chairman, maybe your councillor, probably your governor, your state's House of Rep member. What determines for someone to be re-elected? I've always thought it's probably the antecedents of the person in the first tenure that, gives us reason to say, oh, this person have done so much. This person made sure electricity is stable. This person made sure that the economy is better. This person made sure this and that and this and that were done. Shouldn't that be what's in our usual what gingers voters to actually go vote? But it doesn't seem that way in this part of the world. It seems like you just need to be aligned with some certain sets of people, with some certain class of people, and
you're good to go.
You're good to go. At least that's how most Nigerians imagine it. Should it be that way? I don't think so. But it is what it is at the moment. And in as much as everyone is focused on 2027, I think it's pertinent we focus on governance, on giving Nigerian good governance, on making sure Nigerians enjoy the dividends of democracy. Because no matter what is being done by whoever is doing anything, as long as the everyday Nigerians do not feel its impact economically, do not feel the impact in terms of the education improvement, in terms of electricity improvement, in terms of economic shift, in terms of better prosperity, then all being done is not done for the good of Nigerians. It's as simple as ABC. If there is no reflection on the people, whatever is being done is a waste. Moving on, you see a huge picture on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. This has to do with the NLC protest of non-payment of minimum wage. I do not want to even go.
We are back to this again.
I don't want to even go into it because the NLC, I do not get it. I do not get it. It's a back and forth thingy. Before now, so many Nigerians, so many think tanks spoke about how it's important that the NLC stands their ground when it comes to the minimum wage before all those things were done. But it was like a smoke screen. Everything was done. The NLC, did whatever it did.
And
now it's like it's over and over again. And we saw how Nigerians reacted to the NLC then. Do you think Nigerians still trust the NLC in its full glory and capacity? Well, that's for Nigerians to give an answer to. Moving on the stories. Why security challenges must be tackled now? Governors set up committee to work with security heads. On page 7 is where that story is. If I could get £1 for all the committees that has been set up in Nigeria for any particular reason to solve any problem that the problem hasn't been solved, I'll be a billionaire by now today.
3 or 3.
Let's just leave it at because honestly, it's always that a committee set up, a subcommittee set up to assist the committee that was set up to assist
the subcommittees.
There's subcommittee assisting the committee.
Yeah.
And do you know the most important thing about all these committees? There's always a budget.
Yes. Sure.
There's always a budget. Moving on. Air Peace resumes operations as NIMET workers suspend strike. You find that story on page 8. If you were conversant with the news yesterday, And the before yesterday, NIMET had been on strike, which led to some of, the airlines suspending their flights due to the fact that they do know it's a risk to go out there doing business without having proper information concerning the weather. Yeah, it's a huge risk to take. Above the nameplate this morning, more Nigerians will become poor by 2027. That's according to the World Bank, page 4. Brace up for impact, my people. Page 4 is where that story is, in a country where over 160 million people are already living in poverty.
Then you tell us you are not done yet.
Well, I am. If we're going to be taking everything the World Bank says to the bank, then we'll have to include the World Bank on one of the things it has done that led to where we are. They've given us advice to the IMF, dropping policies after policies after policies. We've seen Nigerian economic teams spoken here. We've had different people, talk about the World Bank and the IMF being part of the reasons why Nigeria is where it is today. We've seen a lot of economists talking about the negatives of the IMF and its policies to what is making Nigeria impoverished today. So if the World Bank is coming to say more of us will go poor, didn't they foresee that when they gave us policies that will lead us to where we are at this point? I don't think it's something that we should take with, all handful, in as much as it's something scary. But is the World Bank really being honest with us with everything they've told us in the past and are still telling us now?
Maybe not. I beg to differ.
Well, I'm just asking. Anyways, NEC OK's new textile board, $90 billion agribusiness livestock development plan. That story you find on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Beside that one, 50 heads of state, 10 monarchs for Pope's burial. That's according to the Vatican. You see that story on page 9. May God rest the soul of the Pope. Finally, on the Vanguard newspaper this morning, not finally, we still have the sports corner. Evactic Power, manufacturers spending on alternative energy surged 42% to 1.1 trillion naira. That story you find on page 19. Just to make that story easy for you, things are going to become more expensive. That's just the
bottom line.
The bottom line of that story. Things are about to become more expensive because you do not expect manufacturers who depend on electricity, and they pay for electricity, but we do know the electricity is not enough for them. And because of it's not enough, they need to go for alternate form of electricity, which they will spend millions to billions for. We're talking about fuel, we're talking about diesels, we're talking about solar power. It costs millions and billions to run. You do not expect them to put all those overhead costs and bear the consequence themselves. The overhead cost will definitely go on the product at which they manufacture, which means you and I as Nigerians are going to be the ones to pay throughout it just to get those items. The basics now are becoming luxury in Nigeria. The basics now feels like luxury.
And once you are able to afford, let's say, maybe two of your... someone once mentioned that who mandated that you must have 3 square meals.
Just imagine.
Yeah.
It's because of how crazy things are. We are now becoming a people who will try to readjust lifestyles to meet with reality.
And I tell you for free that we are so good with that. An average Nigerian can adjust to anything in less than 24 hours.
It's a curse, not a blessing this time around. I feel it's a curse because probably if we're not able to adjust, maybe would have had a lot of Nigerians picking up for better Nigeria, and who knows, maybe
things would have been
way better. I once said you can push Nigerians to the wall, they'll break the wall and go inside and build a self-contained, even a 3-bedroom apartment in a tiny wall to find comfort
just
in
like
themselves.
water.
But you ask yourself, when there's no other space, when there's no other walls for you to break into, are you going to drown?
Maybe
because now behind you is only an ocean waiting, an ocean of poverty, an ocean of insecurity, an ocean of economic dilapidation, an ocean of education that has gone downward. Are we going to drown or are we going to fight back? That's the Vanguard for this morning.
forget, you can be a part of the newspaper review this morning. Let's get interactive. 0704-425-2109. 0704-425-2109. Let's get your calls on the show. You can as well send us your message on WhatsApp, maybe a regular text message, 0907-224-5018. Send us a message on WhatsApp, and maybe a regular text message, 0907-224-5018. Away from the Vanguard newspaper this morning, straight into the Guardian newspaper. Our top story on the Guardian newspaper is talking about economy, and it said how market realities expose weak business models and also their growth illusion. And there's a big image talking about startup development and how they get their funding. That's talking about funding cycle right there. If you want more on the story, you check out pages 4 and 5 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. It's tagged Unicorn Graveyards. Such a big one right there. And away from that, you've also got other stories that says Northeast Stabilization Plan may go up over 128 trillion naira as agency begins review. Northeast Stabilization Plan may go up over 128 trillion naira as agency begins a review. That's on news page 30 of the Guardian newspaper for this morning. Another business is saying 54.3% of Lagos students failed West African Senior School Certificate examination in 2024. That's coming from the state government. And more of that story is on page 28, I beg your pardon. 54.3%. That's way past half of the total number of students who sat for that particular West African Senior School Certificate. That what you call WAEC.
It's
54.3.
Like I was saying before, we're done with the Vanguard. Education dilapidation. It's sad. It's really, really sad. We're coming to a time where students are no longer interested in education. So
school now scam. Don't let them deceive you.
It's well. How would you have them feel that it's not true? You know, as much as you and I know it's not true. School ain't scam. We know that for a fact.
Yeah.
But how would you have an average 15, 16, 17-year-old to believe that it's not scam when over 90% of the educated ones that they come across in the streets, in the ghetto, are either jobless or either doing jobs that they shouldn't even find themselves doing. And the ones who are probably probably didn't go to school are the ones driving the expensive cars, are the ones living la vida local lives. And you expect them not to believe that school is not scam? They go to lectures in the morning, they see their lecturer in a rickety car.
And the student is coming in with the latest of phones,
a better car,
even cars,
a better car than the lecturer. You're seeing that the lecturer is with rubber bands trying to protect his phone screen from falling off. You're looking at his shoes. You can't even imagine yourself in that shoe.
Shots fired.
And let's be honest. And you're thinking, oh, if I want to be a lecturer, is this my life in 15 years' time? Is this what I'm going to look like in 15 years' time? And you're expecting that child not to feel like school is not scam? It's impossible. It's impossible for them not to feel that way. Because what used to be sold to us, that education is the key to success, doesn't seem that way no more. Because look at the amount of people who are educated. Let's even start from our political class. Let's go into our leaders. How many of them have degrees from universities? Let's go to the past, present.
The minimum is a senior school certificate result.
For goodness sake, in 2025, your leader only has to have a secondary school results, and you're saying that education is the paramount key to where we need to get to. No matter how you want to look at it, it's a huge loophole, a very huge loophole. We're in a society where nobody fancies education in the sense that there's good reward for it. Teachers are paid in pennies. You go to primary schools, teachers have not been paid salaries. Even go look at their salaries, it's not something to write home about. You go to secondary schools, more or less universities, How then do you expect these people to come out to say education is paramount? You don't. 54% failed WAEC in Lagos.
54%.
That is a huge slap on the education in Lagos. And let's not forget. Those above those who are not in the bracket of the 54%, those ones who passed, the 46% who passed, how many of them were from special centers? How many of them were from private?
Acute angle right there. But let's take a look at it from this point of view. Yeah, I mean, bulk of what you said is actually putting the all onus on bad governance and what the government should do for us as masses. That is not, enabling the environment and what of you. But how about the individual? How about inside of the confines of our own room? The parents, talking to their children. We know how this thing used to be before now. You are not going to be preparing for a major, because it's a major examination like WAEC, and I mean, well, phone was not that rampant, but there were still a couple of other things that can get your attention as much. You cannot tell me, let's not say the average kid, but at that time there used to be kids who would definitely be able to afford, let's say, like a PlayStation, just things to distract them, even if it's going to be like some other things aside from reading your books. And how the length at which the parents will go there to tell you are writing WAEC, I will not allow you to I feel you. I will not allow you to come back here with bad result and all of those things. Where is that culture now? What happens to parents who go to the house and see their kids preparing for an exam like that, and then it just be whatever you have.
Well, let's not forget that even as of that time, where things were educationally, things were a bit better in terms of results being gotten, we still had parents who were not actually invested in their children's education for different reasons. They do not know if they read or not and all of that. And I am one, for example. My parents will go out of the house as early as 4 a.m. They're back at 10, 11. Okay, you're not going to come back to see me if I'm reading or not. So some of the things, the onions fall on the fact that you're going to school and they expect you to do what you're supposed to do. Not to excuse parents' role. Parents' role do exist, but these parents are trying to go get a life for their children. Some fathers do not even come back home 2 nights, 3 nights just to make ends meet for their children. Yeah, sure. So mothers are go hawking at night, doing so many things just to make sure things work out. The children are left in the hands of the education sector, and they see things. They have their own brains at the end of the day. Let's be honest with ourselves. How many of us growing up, it was because of the things our parents were saying were the reasons why we did what we did. We were once kids. Let's be honest with ourselves. In as much as yes,
but you know that this thing also has a form of reinforcement, a form of getting your head, because at the back of your mind you have it like, my dad must not come back and meet me playing because I'm writing WAEC.
Yes, it does. But is it the dad that will be coming back at 11 when the child's already sleeping? You're not going to meet me playing at 11 p.m., are you? Because they have so many other things they're doing. I understand that, yes, they have their own part to play, but we need to look at the part of these parents that in this same Nigeria that we are in, that we see how things are. How many parents will have that time? How many? Is it the ones who are struggling to catch a bus and are standing in the bus from like 7 till like 10 because of hold up? And that's the first thing that will come to their mind. Did you read your book today because of WAEC? Or is it the parents that have tried to send their children to school, the first, the second, the third, and those ones have brought nothing home? But the fourth, who decide not to go to school and is pressing his phone, is one helping his parents to meet up with life, giving them food to eat. And you think the fifth, the parents will be so interested in saying go to school? When they've sent 3 to go to school, they've gotten out degrees, and those ones are still even trying to find ways to find food to feed themselves. Education to most people doesn't seem like the means to get to anywhere. How many Nigerians will come out from NYSC at the end of this year, and how many of them will get jobs? How many of them were able to start businesses of their own?
Right after. You cannot even save from your allowance now.
So please.
I mean, when it was even 1980, a lot of guys do say that they were able to save bulk of their allowance back then, but now they are getting as much as, I think it's now 70
Yeah, 70 something thousand.
Okay, I mean, okay. Away from that story.
How much is a bag of rice? Oh, please.
Away from that story right now. Oh, but then don't forget, you can be a part of the show this morning. 0907-224-5018. Send us your message on WhatsApp, maybe a regular text message, and you can as well call us up 0704-425-2109. We'd like to hear from you this morning. Other stories on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. Setback looms in 11 states as United States halts $73 million yearly anti-malaria aid. Setback looms in 11 states as United States halts $73 million yearly anti-malaria aid. You want more of that story? Check out page 6 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. And IBAS shuns reps invitation, attends NEC meeting. That news is on page 29 of the Guardian newspaper. IBAS shuns reps invitation, attends NEC meeting. You know, IBAS, the man who is administering affairs right now in Rivers State. Well, he's got a call from the House of Representatives to come and, defend some of the, should I call it allegations, or some of the things that have been put against him by, people from Rivers State. And then, instead of honoring that, he chose to attend to the call of his direct master, which is the presidency, by attending the National Executive Council meeting that was held just recently. And away from that, still more story on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. It's saying that Lagos is investors' delight. That's according to Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu while delivering a speech at Harvard University. You want more of that story? It's on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. The Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu was speaking at the Harvard Business School on building the future and also Lagos State infrastructure-led transformation. That was on Wednesday. I was a guest in Professor Akim Bola Osage's course right there in Harvard University. And away from that, still more stories on the front page of the Guardian newspaper this one. Again, NEC defers deliberation on state police, insists on modern ranching. I saw a story, on X, which was coming through from Ghana. And this is, Ghana just got into a fresh dispensation, a new administration. And the Minister of the Environment was saying that from the end of this month, which is April, that any cow that is seen by, anyone around, or maybe you have you call it herdsmen, right? Who bring their cows into the city, especially on the path to the airport, because it looks like that particular story covers, those who take their cows towards the airport area. It says it's giving people the right to take those cows from them, slaughter it, and feed from it right on that spot.
Well, that's. I don't want to call it good news. I think it's something
that kind of thing can happen in this part of the world as well. I mean, we need to embrace modern ranching.
I think what he said would lead to some sort of problems, because you would have people who, even if those cows do not go on the road, will want to take advantage. But when they talk about modern ranching, I think ranching is the way. I do not understand the prerequisites at which the government wants to do it. But if ranching is the way, this is a business, a huge business now. We know how much a cow goes for, and we know how many cows herdsmen, work with. It means it's a business that could run into hundreds of millions. It means whoever owns those cows has the resources to run his business properly. So why not they purchase lands and do ranching themselves? It's just this is not something that should feel like rocket science. Purchase lands in whatever state you want to purchase those lands, pay your dividends, pay your tax, do all you're supposed to do, and do ranching. If I have the resources to go into such a business, I think I want to buy land and fix my cows in there and operate a ranch, because I wouldn't want to walk around with my cows, would I? It's not my style. It's not something that I can find myself doing. And so if I want my business to work perfectly well, I will buy a land wherever I want to buy the land, put the cows in there, regularly go to buy feed so as they could get feed. But we see this situation where these cows and all these things are working. In my eyes, it's just the owners acting too cheap. Let's be honest with ourselves. Because you're going around, you don't want to buy food. You want them to eat the natural food, and because those ones actually work better for these animals. When they eat this whole fresh grass and all of that, it makes them healthier, all of that. But we also know the walking around and all of that also reduces the milk production that these cows can actually produce. So there are always negatives to these things. So, but once there is a ranch, you can even go to you could even bring succor to other businesses where those businesses will now do, want to create food for cows, food for herds, and all of that, which is springing up other businesses. You can even spring up businesses where these ones get fresh grasses. You can plant fresh grasses in your ranch too. It's a modern way to go about it. But if the government has to involve himself trying to create some sort of policies where that is where we're finding issues, because you go to some states, they'll be telling you, why would you take our lands to give to people to do something when they can actually buy it and do whatever they want to do wherever they want to do it? Why would it just be taken away from us? That's what most people are complaining about. So maybe if these individuals that own these things can actually decide to take it upon themselves to say, okay, let's make this a better business. Let's ranch it. Let's purchase lands of our own, acres and acres of lands if we want to, and go into ranching. It's no big deal. It's not rocket science. We shouldn't be talking about all of this now like this in big 2025. Like, the world is way too modern.
Say big 2025.
The world is way too modern for us to be thinking like we're in the Stone Age. And everyone knows the truth. It's not like we don't know the truth. We all know the truth. But everybody pretending under politics and under different ideologies, it won't get us anywhere. It will only lead us to doom and anarchy.
All right, still on the Guardian newspaper, I beg your pardon. World Bank, Nigeria needs better fiscal contracts with citizens to reduce poverty. That's coming through from the World Bank, and that's on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. And lastly, on the Guardian newspaper this morning, more PDP governors will defect. That's according to Ganduje, who is now vowing, like he's so sure of the fact that it is going to happen, because the likes of Damagum, the likes of Saraki, others are downplaying the fact that there is crisis within the People's Democratic Party. Well, we look forward to see how this is going to unfold in the coming days. But yes, just like Uche rightly mentioned at the start, this is just 2025. We're not even halfway through the year yet. But then the bulk of the talks everywhere in the country right now, it's not even about making life better or easier for the citizens. Maybe sometimes you hear about loans being loans being applied for, loans being granted to the country. Other than that, the only other thing happening right now is people crossing carpet, looking forward to the big 2025. Some looking to seek re-election, some looking to seek a favor, so that they don't get, once they're out of power, the immunity is no longer there for them and what of it. But then this is Nigeria, and indeed we are hoping that yes, Nigeria will be great again.
Hoping Nigeria will be indeed great again. That's the Vanguard, the Guardian, yes?
The Guardian newspaper, yes.
Okay, the Punch newspaper next. We're going to run through it as fast as we can because we're fast running out of time. I start with NEC postpones state police talks despite surge in killings. You find that story on page 2. We've talked about that one. One rider to that story. NGF raises panel to tackle killings, proposes massive security personnel recruitment. Underneath that one, image of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu speaking in Harvard, talking about how Lagos is the home for investors. Beside it, EFCC gets order to arrest 6 CBEX promoters. Page 14 is where you see that story.
Innocent promoters who get arrested.
Innocent? Did you just say innocent?
I mean, they might not know so much about it.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Imagine.
Oh,
just imagine that.
Maybe once these ones get some sort of punishment, others will ask questions before they promote things like this. Many people were swindled because they felt, oh, this person promoting this particular business is genuine, and because of this person's influence, I think I can invest in such a business. So Now the person just collected money to lie to me so that I can get swindled, and now
What if the person did not get paid? I was just doing it pro bono.
Pro bono. Now go to the EFCC and explain that. Go explain that to the EFCC.
Well, you can explain if you have evidence. Like,
when you have evidence,
check my account balance. There's nothing related to that.
I'm sure the EFCC will do all its due diligence. So, I think there should be more than 6 promoters. More than 6. But the funny thing about this is, I'm so glad I didn't hear nothing about it until the crash. Did they really promote it?
No, it was promoted, but I think what happened was people tried to hide the updates.
Oh,
yes.
And Mata cast for their head. Okay. It's all good.
I mean, I'm not laughing, guys, because
I'm laughing.
I don't know that this.
I am laughing.
Please.
Oh man, please. What are you talking about? Nigerians do not learn. They do not learn.
Yeah.
Underneath that one, 13 governors fund rural electrifications in 925 villages. You find that story on page 33. Underneath that one, Obi versus Abure, INEC studies Supreme Court judgment. That story you find on page 21 of the Punch this morning. Cybercrime, Chinese suspects forfeit 73 houses, 1,596 laptops. That story you find on page 14. Emergency, IBAS meets Rep panel today as protest continues. Page 32 is where that story is. And finally, on the Punch newspaper this morning, Atiku Saraki spearhead PDP resurgence amid key defections. Atiku Saraki spearhead PDP resurgence amid key defections. Page 2 is where you find that story. And that's the much for the Punch.
And away from the Punch newspaper, this one is straight into the Daily Trust newspaper. A bit of diagram on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. Just trying to, analyze how the economy has been going, dwindling, spiking, and what have you. So if you want more about this, you need to check the front page and also the Daily Trust newspaper for this morning. But then, just above that front image, you have Tinubu's 8 Atiku coalition bicker over defections, and Tinubu's 8 Atiku's coalition bicker over defections. I can tell you for free that we'll talk about this for as long as the defections continue to happen. And PDP are trying so much to keep hold of their stronghold, but it looks like they will still have to do more. Just below the nameplate of the Daily Trust newspaper this morning, it says more Nigerians to become poor in 2027. No, please, we refuse to be poor. Okay, but that's coming from the World Bank. Just beside that, you have NEC differs deliberation on state police amidst worsening insecurity. Striking FCT workers besiege minister's office. Wike blast council chairs. Striking FCT workers besiege minister's office. Wike blast council chairs. And just beneath that, you have funding freeze, high treatment costs, hiding Nigerians' malaria burden. That's on Health News, and you can find that on page 3 of the Daily Trust newspaper. There's a particular one that is saying about over 66 million cases of malaria occur annually in Nigeria. That's coming from the World Health Organization. And children are the most affected. Right from 2022, over 180,000 children under the age of 5 lost their lives to malaria. Challenges against malaria elimination, definitely, you know that you can talk about poor funding, poor utilization of insecticide, and other things that has to do with it. Another earth note as well, I'll be calling the wrap on the Daily Trust newspaper for this morning.
Okay, that's the Daily Trust talking about, I think it was focusing more on the $73 million that has been halted, trying to give us a diagram on how it will affect Nigerians. And what I will say from this is the fact that ever since Trump came into power and started cutting aids, different aids, even the World Health Organization has to cut most of their budgets due to the fact that most of their aids have been cut off, and the USA gives over at least about 50% to 60% of the entirety of the aids that the World Health Organization receives. So many effects it's going to happen, but I think it's a wake-up call to leaders of different African nations that you need to stand up to your responsibility. You need to stand up to the responsibility of leading your people and helping your people.
Leading and leading them aright.
Yes.
It's not just about leading.
You know, because it's important that you know that you were placed there for a reason. To manage the resources of everyone, as well as to make sure that their lives become a better place. Not everybody wants to be wealthy. Everybody just wants to afford the basic things of life. Okay? And so Nigerians, as well as other African leaders, need to pick up the mantle of responsibility of making sure that the health of their citizens is paramountly taken care of. Look at the budget in our economy. Every year you look at the budget, you see the weasel amount being placed for health. You see the ludicrous simple amount being placed for education. But when you go to look at other things like foreign trips, like different expenditures which do not affect the economy positively, you get to see humongous amounts there. So it's really, really crazy. We need to start making sure that the health of our citizen is primary. We shouldn't be depending on another country to help us take care of our citizens' health. We shouldn't be depending on aids to help us take care of our citizens. Different aids in different parts. We collect aids in different things. We'll go to, we'll collect aids from the Christian community. We'll go through the Muslim community. We collect aids. Aids here, aids there, aids here, aids there. What then shows that we are really, really independent? What assures us of our own sovereignty? Who's to say most of these countries are not giving those aids and putting speculations on things that will favor them before they grant us most of these aids? And at the end of the day, who's to say the aids being received by these leaders is actually being used for the people? So many questions to be answered. How many Nigerians will beat their hands on their chest and say they trust their leaders? How many? I'm not even sure I can get a handful of them. Or else we want to lie to ourselves. So it's important that Nigerians stop lying to themselves, pick up the mantle of responsibility and speak up. Because it's only when you speak up that your voice will be heard. It's important to speak up and your voice is heard and something probably get done than for you to keep quiet and hope and pray that something gets done. Nothing gets done that way. Nothing gets done that way.
You have to get out. Get up.
You have to work. You have to work. Even if you are someone who believes in religion and have faith, they tell you your faith works with action.
Action without faith.
Your faith works with action.
Or faith without action.
It's important I leave you with this. God won't do for you what you do not want to do for yourself. He won't do for you what you are not willing to do for yourself. He'll be only there to guide you to do what you are willing to do for yourself. The heavens won't move if you don't move. That's how we call it an end to today's edition of the newspaper review right here on our Impact Radio 102.1 FM. We'll be back on Monday for another exciting edition of the newspaper review. But before all of that, have yourself a beautiful, beautiful weekend.
Have yourself a beautiful weekend. Don't forget I'll be back here tomorrow morning between 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. With the Big Five right here on Impact Radio 102.1 FM, giving you the top 5 story and I've made the rounds this week. Adeja Ajiboye is signing out this morning, and on behalf of Uche Okorie, I did the honor of introducing you, and yes, I'm doing the honor of bidding you goodbye on the show for this week. We're back in next week. God spare us all. Stay with us as the Morning Impact show continues. Don't go anywhere. We'll catch you. I will catch up with you once again. Don't forget to be kind, because kindness is cool.
Impact.
Hi, how may I help you?
There are times that I aim for knowledge in certain areas like business and so on. Which station can give